So you may be dealing with the loss of a loved one, and as hard as that is, I may actually have a resource for you guys. Now, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. Now, this particular book I am reviewing for you guys, I think is extremely helpful for those people that are dealing with a loss. And the book I am talking about is On Grief and Grieving by Elisabeth, Kubler-Ross, MD, and David Kessler. So I want you to stick tight and realize this book is a great resource. So let's get started. Now, this time last year, you may or may not know, my father passed of ALS. And for the longest time, I have been trying to deal with that and cope with it in my own way. And for the longest time, I felt like I was running, right? I didn't want to essentially face the noise and deal with the fact that my father had passed, right? I've always felt like I could always just jump on the phone and call him. But nonetheless, this book was brought to my attention, and thought it would be something that would actually be able to help me go through this grieving process. And this book is a phenomenal book, right? It's dealing with those stages of grieving, right? And for myself, I knew about the different stages of grieving. I know you get angry. I know that you are in disbelief that this is happening in your life. And I think one of the biggest things I've pulled from this book is about disbelief, right? I've felt like I've been able to I could jump on the phone and call my father at any time, when in fact, it's hard to believe, even though, the disease ALS that my father had, was a long, out process to where it slowly took him. And even though, that was true, it was still hard to believe that he was going to go. And so understanding this, right, this book brings in some great details. No matter how you lost your loved one, specifically talks about just about every death, right? It could be an immediate death where, you see that person in the morning, and then all of a sudden, in the afternoon, they are no longer with us. Or perhaps it's like my father, where he battled ALS for a couple of years before his passing. And so this book really helps out with that. It really helps you understand. And for me, yes, I knew about the different stages, but this brought some different perspective and ideas that have really helped me look at the situation differently, right? And realize that I have to face the noise. I have to come to this realization that, yes, my father is no longer with us. Life will be changed forever, right? And to realize that I can't just pick up the phone and call him anymore. And this book, again, would help anybody that is going through a tough situation and doesn't really know what to expect, right? Because a lot of times I, again, was in disbelief. A lot of times I put my nose to the grindstone and I just work because I didn't want to think about it. And this book is great about that too, right? It talks about how a lot of people, change perspective on life because of these major events that happen in your life, and how you can use it to essentially your benefit, right? And focus on something positive while you are going through this grieving process. And it's always something I've talked about on this channel because it's important to me, right? It's important that not only for myself to help me get over this grieving situation, but to help others, right? And to help them realize that, to use that energy in a positive way, because it's a slippery slope and you can easily go down the wrong path, especially when something like this happens. When you lose a loved one, it can be extremely hard to deal with. And so having a book like this and to understand, what to be looking forward to, and to realize that you can't set a time frame, right? When you lose a loved one, a lot of people can say, I understand, but you don't really understand until you do lose a loved one. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, right? Maybe it was someone you were extremely close to for a long period of time. And it just depends on that relationship. It depends on a multitude of different things. And this book talks about all that stuff, right? So you can't really go up to someone and say, hey, I understand what's going on with the loss of somebody, because essentially you don't. Everybody deals with situations different. Everybody has their own period of grieving, right? Some people may have a quick turnaround. Some people may take a lot longer to get over that. And for me, like myself, right, it's something that I struggle with from time to time, right? There'd be periods where I'm good and I'm okay. Like I've talked about in my videos, I can talk about my father, right? And that's something I haven't been able to do for a couple months. And I'm slowly opening up, right, into this new change that's occurring in my life. And I think this book really helped to give some insight onto that stuff, right? And moving on and understand that you don't have to force it, you don't have to rush it, because it is, you know, one of those times in your life where you to really focus on yourself and making sure that you are okay, right? Because dealing with grief can, again, become a very slippery slope, and you want to focus on making sure that you are okay and making sure that you are providing yourself with the resources and things that you need to get through this period of time. So as far as like any cons, I don't really say there would be any cons to this book. This book is a phenomenal book for someone that is going through loss, and I think it's worth a read, right? If you don't want to go out and seek help. Now for me, for typically a guy, right, they don't like going out seeking help, but this book was extremely helpful, right? This book really gave me, again, insight onto what to look forward to and what to address and things like that. Now, if you guys are interested in the book, I will actually leave this book down in the description. And again, I feel like this book is a must read for anybody that is going through a tough period of time in their life, such as death of a loved one. And until next time, I will see you guys later.